4.5 minutes after 8 o'clock, KLOS Los Angeles. Good morning to those of you who are just joining us. We've been here since 5.
Wow, I muted myself. um, uh, so hello, this is Curious Core Joe. Um, and I'm trying to get into the habit of showing what I offer. Um, this is all kind of just like a concept or like proof of concept type of deal. And so for content, I want to be making go high level stuff. I'll probably be doing that more throughout the week. Creativity stuff as well. I kind of want to flop between all three of these. Like one day will be go high level, next day will be creativity, next day will be motivation. And last night or yesterday I did creativity, so today we're doing motivation. And also it's a little bit fitting for me today. Um, not gonna lie, I did not have any motivation to really like start streaming, and not gonna lie even further. Um, I need to be doing outreach right now, but instead of outreaching, I'm streaming. So I told myself if I'm not outreaching, I need to be making content. So here I am. um, so motivation, mindset, belief, and things, and success stories. I kind of want to like hop into um. Firstly, I want to just kind of introduce some like unquote thought leaders or like people who um have smart things to say. Um, actually, do I want to go down that route right now? Mm, I'll do Stranger's Secret. How about that? I'll do that one instead of Vernon. So, yeah, this is a playlist that I have uh, made on an account that I need to rebrand. Um, this is the Curious Core Joe channel. This is a different channel that I need to rebrand, but yeah. Um, these are lectures or like whatever podcasts. This is a radio talk show, um, podcast, TV show, lecture. These are all just kind of like very powerful, very mindset driven or oriented, and then these are powerful audiobooks, like audiobooks that talk about mindset and all of that. I really want to get into I'll get into Superhuman Mind actually. So I want to just start off with some Earl Nightingale. I want to play out a little bit of the video, um, and then talk about it, and then go from there. I just for copyright reasons, because I am on YouTube right now. I am going to be a good boy. So I will not play it all the way through. I will react. So just if you're watching retroactively, feel free to skip through. If you don't want to hear him talk, feel free to just skip whenever you see the video stop playing. Actually, it's a vinyl going, so there's not a whole lot. But yeah, feel free to skip around if you're watching retroactively. Um, but so the way I've organized my playlists, or at least two playlists, is the top three things. Well, really, the top five things are like my top five recommendations or whatever. Um, really, I could move this down to be honest. I'll get into that later. Just because I really like this one, like These two are really good. This one I haven't really been connecting with that much. Oh, that's right, because I won't do that right now. Anyways, but all of these are very, very good, especially Psycho-Cybernetics. I actually want to do
In many ways.
I actually want to do a series on this. And this power of your subconscious mind. I want to do a series on both of these, discussing them and talk about how it applies to me, myself personally, and then, you know, maybe make some shorts or whatever about how, you know, how it can apply to everyone else. But yeah, let me just get to, you know what, let me get, because it's in the same playlist anyways. I'm gonna start with The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's 18 minutes. That's kind of why I'm hopping into it, because I can just like react to it. Essentially, like this is not. I would need to like properly like jump around to like specific spots for me to like properly do this one. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, really quickly again. I just stopped myself, but again, just you know, go high level, creativity, motivation. If you want those, feel free to stick around. Cool. I don't have any YouTube Premium on this account. Well, what a cool final
about the strangest secret in the world.
So okay, I'm gonna be quiet for the first like a minute or two, or like I'll stop whenever. There's like I've listened to this a few times, so I can kind of gauge where things are going. So I'll let it play out, and then I'll react. But I want to be quiet, that way, you know, everything is heard clearly.
Not long ago, I'd like to tell you about the strangest secret in the world. Not long ago, Albert Schweitzer, the great doctor and Nobel Prize winner, was being interviewed in London, and a reporter asked him, "Doctor, what's wrong with men today?" The great doctor was silent a moment, and then he said, "Men simply don't think." And it's about this that I want to talk with you. We live today in a golden age. This is an era that man has looked forward, dreamed of, and worked toward for thousands of years. But since it's here, we pretty well take it for granted. We in America are particularly fortunate to live in the richest land that ever existed on the face of the earth, a land of abundant opportunity for everyone. But do you know what happens? Let's take 100 men who start even at the age of 25. Do you have any idea what will happen to those men by the time they're 65? These 100 men who all start even at the age of 25 believe they're going to be successful. If you asked any one of these men if he wanted to be a success, he'd tell you that he did. And you'd notice that he was eager toward life, that there was a certain sparkle to his eye, an erectness to his carriage, and life seemed like a pretty interesting adventure to him. But by the time they're 65, 1 will be rich, 4 will be financially independent, 5 will still be working, 54 will be broke. Now think a moment. Out of the 100, only 5 make the grade. Why do so many fail? What has happened to the sparkle that was there when they were 25? What's become of the dreams, the hopes, the plans? And why is there such a large disparity between what these men intended to do and what they actually accomplished?
So, I really want to dive into this because there's a lot right there. So clearly, you know, like he was just saying, how, I mean, I'm only 26 at the time of recording this, so I'm not gonna pretend like I'm some like some aged milk or whatever, but you know, just like you definitely see it in people, you know, some people like that I've talked to before, like, you know, some people, they have grand plans, and then you talk to them like a year or two later, and those grand plans become grand dreams, you know, or like, you know, like what ifs, or should have beens, or whatever, or should have done's. So I should have gotten water before this. Uh, but So I've been very interested personally in like what makes someone successful or not. Just because, well, there's a couple of reasons, but there's two main reasons, and the main reason, or one of them, is that I didn't want to accept the fact that like just some people were born rich or some people were just born at the top, whatever it may be, like the top physically, top mentally, top financially, whatever the case may be. Um, or in the top of the sport, like some people like they're just born talented, right? Like, um, I had a conversation about this not too long ago, but like, not many people are born Michael Jackson or like, no one is born Elvis Presley or like there's only one Elvis Presley born, and like same thing for you, there's only one of you born, and there are strengths and weaknesses to everyone, and if everyone were to learn what their core strengths are, there's a maybe I should get into that. I should I should have a notepad. Um but the concept of ikigai, uh let me just bring it up really quickly.
When we say about
Just for the sake of it. And I'll get into it at some point. Ikigai is like a Chinese or Japanese, sorry, Japanese concept, where it is your passion, your mission, your vocation, and your profession. What you love, what you can get, what you can be paid for. I don't know what I was struggling. What the world needs, and what you are good at. So a lot of people just do what you can be paid for and what you're good at. These two things are like what is, you know, uh, stressed, or like those are the only two things that people focus on, especially nowadays. Like your 9 to 5, like it's a profession. um, no one calls it their mission because it's not what the world needs necessarily. Like people don't necessarily need a fast food worker, but we respect that the job. Um, but it's not like their mission, right? It's just a profession. Or maybe they're a cook. Maybe they're a good cook, and like, that's like their level one. So it's the world does need a cook, so it's a vocation. Um, what do they love? A lot of people, if they're an artist, they approach things the opposite way. They do what they love and what the world needs, or what they're good at, rather. So they're passionate about it, but it's not really like a profession or vocation to them. So again, if you combine all of them, it's called ikigai. And I've gone through this a couple times. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about um, finding your career. I oh, part of me kind of wants to do some type of like occupational coaching or whatever. Whatever. I'm just talking. Um, yeah, ikigai is a very cool concept, and I would love to get into it. Feel free to comment below if you're watching post. If you're watching after the fact. Feel free to comment below if you would like to see that.
5% achieve success, we have to define is there was there make the grade. Why do so many fail? What has happened to the sparkle that was there when they were 25? What's become of the dreams, the hopes, the plans? And why is there such a large disparity between what these men intended to do and what they actually accomplished? When we say about 5% achieve success, we have to define success. And here's the definition. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. If a man is working toward a predetermined goal and knows where he's going, that man is a success. If he's not doing that, he's a failure. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Rollo May, the distinguished psychiatrist, wrote a wonderful book called Man's Search for Himself.
Okay, before he goes into that tangent, I just want to touch on what he just said. And I mentioned that in last night's Jonathan Acuna's Q&A session. I can link it in chat, or like in the description. I probably will. And we talked about this. We briefly talked about this where, you know, I mean, he's about to talk about it in depth, but I just want to touch on it before he does. But so he talked about, you know, knowing your goal, knowing your goal in life, so that you know where to go in life. And like, once you have a goal, then you can achieve. Then you know what to achieve. You know what to wake up to. You know, that's why a lot of people. And I've thought about this, or this is a theory I have. I was about to make an assertion, but this is a theory I have. But I feel like a lot of people gain, or like, hold on. Whenever you have a child, you gain that goal, or like that is your new goal. That is what you need to, or like that becomes your new goal, for lack of a better term. You know, trying to provide, trying to give what's best, and like, if you want to look at it in a very abstract way, or in a weird way, trying to get them to 18 years old, you know, trying to give them a good life until they're 18, you know, or, you know, again, just trying to provide the best life for them. That is a lot of people's goal, and people will say, like, having a child was the best thing for me, and it's like, why? It's like, well, or you ask them why, and it's oftentimes because, you know, hey, I have something to work towards. Like, I put all of my time, effort, soul, energy into this person, into this, you know, into my child. So, yeah, not saying that that is the only way to get a goal, but that is a very powerful way, and I would say common way, for lack of a better term, a very common way people find their goal through having a child. But if you have, I don't think there is only one goal in life. I think that this is not my original thoughts, but I think that there are 3 goals in life. There is health goals, there is wealth goals, and there is like happiness goals, or, you know, a fulfillment, like what fulfills you in life. And, you know, children is one of those. You know, children are not necessarily great for your health, or for your finances especially. So, yeah, that's kind of what he's about to touch upon, is like, if you don't have a main goal in life, then you don't know what you're aiming for. Much like if you don't, sorry, sorry, if you don't aim at something with your eyes open, you'll never shoot at it, right? You'll never hit anything. You know, like if you kick a soccer ball, and you try to kick it with your eyes closed, you're never going to hit it. Especially a golf ball. Try to hit a golf ball, or a tennis ball, or a ping pong ball. Try to hit a ping pong ball with your eyes closed. You know, so you don't know what you're aiming for. And that's why a lot of times in sports they say keep your eye on the goal, or on the ball, you know? That is your only goal. Keep your eye on the ball. Much like in driving, the only thing that you can be focused on is trying to get to point A to point B, or from point A to point B. That's your entire goal. And one of your many goals within that is keep your eye on the road, you know? But 2 minutes in, let me play.
And in this book, he says, the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity. And there you have the trouble today. It's conformity. People acting like everyone else, without knowing why, without knowing where they're going. Now think of it. In America right now, there are over 14 million people 65 years of age and over, and about 13 million of these 14 million are broke. They're dependent on someone else for life's necessities. Now, we learn to read by the time we're 7. We learn to make a living by the time we're 25. Usually, by that time, we're not only making a living, we're supporting a family. And yet, by the time we're 65, we haven't learned how to become financially independent in the richest land that has ever been known. Why? We conform. And the trouble is that we're acting like the wrong percentage group, the 95% who don't succeed. Now, why do these people conform? Well, they don't know, really. These people believe that their lives are shaped by circumstances, by things that happen to them, by exterior forces. They're outer-directed people. A survey was made one time that
Okay, let me back it
covered
up. So, let me just unpack that really quickly. So he just said that two things that I took away from that was that most people act like the 95% of people. So even though you may not be a 95%er, like let's say you're you're of the belief that you're not special, or I mean that you are special, but that you're capable of doing more in life, or that you can do more, or whatever common phrase you want to give. And as such, that would mean that you're not the 95%. And he's saying that the reason why you are currently the 95%, not entirely, obviously there's a lot of real circumstances that like keep us where we are in life. There are a lot of real problems in life. I'm not going to be ignorant of that, but let's set those things aside, and let's say that if those aren't in play, a lot of it is your mentality, because you're acting as if you don't know how to be successful. You're acting as if you don't want to be successful. And that's what he is saying. He is saying that you're acting like you don't want to be successful because you don't even know what you want to be successful, or like you don't even know what goal to achieve. So he's saying, how can you be successful if you don't have a goal?
people believe that their lives are shaped by circumstances, by things that happen to them, by exterior forces. They're outer-directed people. A survey was made one time that covered a lot of men, working men, and these men were asked this question: why do you work? Why do you get up in the morning? 19 out of 20 had no idea. If you ask them, they'll say, everyone goes to work in the morning. And that's the reason they do it, because everyone else is doing it. Now let's get back to our definition of success. Who succeeds? The only man who succeeds is the man who is progressively realizing a worthy ideal. He's the man who says, I'm going to become this, and then begins to work toward that goal. I'll tell you who the successful people are. A success is the school teacher who's teaching school because that's what she wanted to do. The success is the woman who's a wife and mother because she wanted to become a wife and mother and is doing a good job of it. The success is the man who runs the corner gas station because that's what he wanted to do. The success is the successful salesman who wants to become a top-notch salesman and grow and build with his organization. A success is anyone who is doing deliberately a predetermined job because that's what he decided to do deliberately. But only 1 out of 20 does that. That's why today there is...
I'm backing up after I press play. So there you go. He's gonna go into more detail Sorry, I just like started coughing on water after I drank some water. It went down the wrong pipe. So yeah, he laid it out right there where he basically said, let me just play it again really quickly.
Top-notch salesman and grow and build with his organization. A success is anyone who is doing deliberately a predetermined job because that's what he decided to do deliberately.
So, there's a reason why he said deliberately and like emphasized on that. Like, predetermined, or predetermined and like deliberately premeditated. Like, again, this goes back to my general question of like, or my original question of what makes people successful and not successful, because I did not want to accept that people are just like born with it and some people are not. That like, 95% of people just are not born with it. Like I don't want to accept that, at least for myself, and neither should you. You should not accept that for yourself. And if you do, feel free to. I do, some days I still do. That's all a part of, where you are at in life. But people that are, making really good money, they don't even concern that thought, or that they don't even concern themselves with thinking about that. They love themselves typically. I mean, ones that made money in a respectable way, I'll say, in an upright way, or like an entrepreneur. If an entrepreneur made money, that wasn't just like some crypto thing or whatever. Now I'm putting in my opinions, but more so just to say, if you are being deliberate with what you're doing, if you wake up every day knowing what you need to do for your goal, for your 5-year goal, for your 1-year goal, for your week goal, for your month goal, for your day goal, for your hour goal. I'm not saying that you have to get that detailed. I would say things will like fall into line a little bit. You have to structure it a bit, but like let's say you already have a 9 to 5, right? You're like, hey, I want to just like improve my mindset. Like, let's say you are stuck in your 9 to 5, and there's like not much, like you don't really have wiggle room to wiggle out of your 9 to 5. So let's say you want to work on your mindset. So what you can do is just be like, hey, let me just work on how can I improve 2 things, my internal and my external. How can I improve how I feel about myself, or think about myself, or think about one thing, like what's one negative thought I have about myself or about something? How can I change that thought? And then one thing, like what do I want to change about my external, right? Like, maybe this is a real example, but hey, my room gets too hot. Maybe I should buy some curtains. That was a real world example where I changed something that bothered me. Hey, this chair is not comfy. Let me buy a new chair, or like let me buy a new cushion. Hey, I don't like how much I'm getting paid right now. Let me change that. Things of that nature. So he is saying, Earl Nightingale is saying, like, just know what you're doing, know why you're doing it, and know where you are going.
But only 1 out of 20 does that. That's why today there isn't really any competition, unless we make it for ourselves. Instead of competing, all we have to do is create. Now, for 20 years, I looked for the key which would determine what would happen to a human being. Was there a key, I wanted to know, which would make the future a promise that we could foretell to a large extent? Was there a key that would guarantee a person's becoming successful if he only knew about it and knew how to use it? Well, there is such a key, and I've found it. Have you ever wondered why so many men work so hard and honestly without ever achieving anything in particular, and others don't seem to work hard and yet seem to get everything? They have the magic touch. You've heard them say that about someone. Everything he touches turns to gold. And have you ever noticed that a man who becomes successful tends to continue to become successful? And on the other hand, have you noticed how a man who is a failure tends to continue to fail? It's because of goals. Some of us have them, some don't. People with goals succeed because they know where they're going. Now, think of a ship leaving continue to fail. It's because of goals. Some of us have them, some don't.
Okay. Just really briefly, he's again hammering the point home of a big difference between someone who is successful and continues to be successful is not only do they talk their way into continuing to be successful, like most high achieving people don't like put themselves down constantly. I mean, again, there are cases obviously, but like, if you really want to do big things in life, you can't be, and this is something that that I've been saying, you can't be working against yourself. You need to be working with yourself or for yourself, whichever phrasing works for you. Because sometimes people like, myself included to some degree, need to feel like they're working with someone, or like to be a part of something, or like, whatever. So, working for yourself, you're working for your future self, you're working for a better self, you're working for a better future. So you're working for yourself, or working with yourself. You're trying to keep your momentum going, you're trying to get afloat, you're trying to stay afloat, you're working with yourself. I feel like that comparison wasn't so smooth. But regardless, yeah, have a goal, know where you are going, know why you are going there, and honestly, know when you are getting there. Knowing when you are getting there adds like a certain amount of pressure. I'll go into that at some point. Again, comment down below. Feel free to timestamp the video, like the stream, not the YouTube video, but feel free to timestamp. Not add timestamps inherently, but just like timestamp like a interesting topic. Sorry, I talk a little slow, or like I'm trying to talk slower because I talk a little like too fast. I don't like enunciate properly. I'm very like, sloppy with like how I pronounce things. Typically, I'm really trying to break that habit. So, just to be a little bit more viewer friendly, or like listener friendly.
People with goals succeed because they know where they're going. Now think of a ship leaving a harbor, and think of it with the complete voyage mapped out and planned. The captain and crew know exactly where it's going and how long it will take. It has a definite goal. 9,999 times out of 10,000, it will get to where it started out to get. Now let's take another ship, just like the first, only let's not put a crew on it, or a captain at the helm. Let's give it no aiming point, no goal, no destination. We just start the engines and let it go. I think you'll agree with me that if it gets out of the harbor at all, it will either sink or wind up on some deserted beach a derelict. It can't go any place because it has no destination and no guidance. It's the same with a human being. Take the salesman, for example. There is no other person in the world today with the future of a good salesman. Selling is the world's highest paid profession, if we're good at it and if we know where we're going. Every company needs top-notch sales.
I just realized maybe I should add like something a little bit more engaging to look at. Can I do that? Do I want to do that for this? I'll figure it out.
And they reward those men. The sky is the limit for them. But how many can you find? Someone once said, the human race is fixed, not to prevent the strong from winning, but to prevent the weak from losing. The American economy today can be likened to a convoy in time of war. The entire economy is slowed down to protect its weakest link, just as the convoy had to go at the speed that would permit its slowest vessel to remain in formation. That's why it's so easy to make a living today. It takes no particular brains or talent to make a living and support a family today. So we have a plateau of so-called security, if that's what a person's looking for. But we do have to decide how high above this plateau we want to aim for. Now let's get back to the strangest secret in the world, the story that I wanted to tell you today. Why do men with goals succeed in life and men without them fail? Well, let me tell you something which, if you really understand it, will alter your life immediately. If you understand completely what I'm going to tell you from this moment on, your life will never be the same again. You'll suddenly find that good luck just seems to be attracted to you. The things you want just seem to fall in line. And from now on, you won't have the problems, the worries, the gnawing lump of anxiety that perhaps you've experienced before. Doubt, fear, well, they'll be things of the past. Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we that good luck just seems to be a tron life immediately. Well, let me tell you something which, if you really understand it, will alter your life immediately. If you understand completely what I'm going to tell you from this moment on, your life will never be the same again. You'll suddenly...
I'm replaying this just so that I can really like hear it again. That way I can repackage it.
You find that good luck just seems to be attracted to you. The things you want just seem to fall in line. And from now on, you won't have the problems, the worries, the gnawing lump of anxiety that perhaps you've experienced before. Doubt, fear, well, they'll be things of the past.
So he is about to, I think he just said it, or let me...
Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about.
So let me just talk about this before he does. Because I thought it before he said it. So, but basically what he's about to say is, well, he said it twice, but we become what we think about. So there's a lot of, this right here, 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 that right there, all of those. Powerful audiobooks. Ooh, can only hold on. Let me grab. I need to get in the habit of doing this instead of this, especially, this is literally called, oh.
Hold on, before you...
No, thank you. No, thank you. Pretty much all of these are all about you are what you think about, or you become what you think about. And yeah, there's a lot to it. A lot to it, but there's also nothing to it. And that's like the beauty of it is like at any moment you could just start loving yourself, or you can let go of pain. Not all pain, not deep pain. But you can like let go of like some like petty arguments that you've held on to for like a week or two, something like that, something light like that, or something deep, which is a very big thing that I've been trying to, well, not trying to, but I have been, um, is working on what I say to myself, how I talk to myself. I mean, apparently 30% of the population doesn't have a like an internal monologue or like internal thoughts or whatever. Um, Apparently 30%, but um, regardless, um, I really want to get into this. Um, this is not me, by the way. This is a different Joseph. Oops. Shout out to him. I will definitely be getting a lot of inspiration from what he says. But just, or I mean, I already do get a lot of inspiration from what he says, but for like my topic, or like whenever I talk about that. But so okay, sorry. I got super like distracted or like anyways. um you know, I've really been focusing on what I talk or how I talk to myself. Um like so many people, even, myself included still, are so quick to be like, "Oh, I'm so stupid. I'm so bad. I'm this negative thing. I'm that negative thing. I'm so ugly. I'm so slow. I'm so old." Like it goes back to not working with yourself or like working against yourself. Like all of those things are working against yourself. Um Something that I have been working on is my confidence in myself. I had really good, or I had my confidence for myself um, was very high back in 2019, 2018. But I lost that confidence because of different things, and I mean, I guess this is a personal brand, so I guess I should get into it at some point. But there's a lot of reasons for why that is the case. Again, comment down below if you want to hear about this. Um, Let me just put the logo. So um, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why. I won't get into it now, just to save time. That's a whole topic. But yeah, I've been focusing on not letting myself say those stupid things to myself or about myself. Like even whenever I talk to other people, I don't put myself down, and I look at it like I don't talk bad about other people. So why do I talk bad about myself? Um, I mean, that's just a personal goal that I have. Like that's like a personal thing I've done for a long time. Is I don't backbite people, or I don't like. I'm a big proponent or a big believer of don't talk about people if they're not there. Or like, I don't know. I just don't typically have bad things to say about people. Typically, I mean, if I do have bad things to say, I'll definitely think it, and I will voice it. But it's never anything beyond a serious level or degree or anything. Like it's never anything serious. I'm not live right now. Anything? Okay, cool. That was lame. Anyways, um, so yeah, so nothing serious or like regardless. Sorry, I just made myself cringe hearing myself. Um, Yeah. So right there, internally I said like I sound ugly. Like right there, I just said that in my head. So I'm calling myself out in real time. So I recommend that as well. Calling yourself out. You don't have to do anything with it. Just call yourself out. Because I'm not ready to accept that my voice doesn't sound cringe right now. Right now at least. There's periods where I'm okay with it, but there's periods where I'm no, thank you, no, thank you. Uh, um. So, anyways, that's my personal thing, my personal bad habits. But again, I called myself out. I'm not gonna do anything with it inherently, or like I don't feel pressured to be like, oh, don't say that, or like just call yourself out. Then eventually you'll, I mean, if you want to improve that habit, then you'll be like, don't say that, But at least you can call yourself out whenever you do it, and you're in the habit of doing so, and you're not like putting yourself down.
Problems, the worries, the gnawing lump of anxiety that perhaps you've experienced before. Doubt, fear, well, they'll be things of the past. Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now, let me say that again. We become what we think about. Throughout all history, the great wise men and teachers, philosophers and prophets have disagreed with one another on many different things. It is only on this one point that they are in complete and unanimous agreement. Listen to what Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said. He said, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." Disraeli said this, "Everything comes if a man will only wait. I have brought myself by long meditation to the conviction that a human being with a settled purpose must accomplish it, and that nothing can resist a will that will stake even existence for its fulfillment." Ralph Waldo Emerson said this, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." William James said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." And he also said, "We need only in cold blood act as if the thing in question were real, and it will become infallibly real by growing into such a connection with our life that it will become real."
Okay, there's a lot of foo-foo stuff being said, or like there's a lot of things that if someone had a normal ego, or just conscience, I'll say, that sounds crazy, or that's like I don't know about that. I don't know about that, partner. But it's true, just like to different degrees. It's very, very true. It's not like, oh, if a homeless man thinks that he's a millionaire, he's gonna become a millionaire. That's not what he's saying. That's not the extent of which what he's speaking about. But more so, if a homeless man were to be like, I'm a millionaire, and he becomes a working or like a blue collar worker because of it, because of that mindset, because of that mentality. Or like if someone who, I really don't want to speak too much on certain like real common cases because I personally have not lived that life. I don't want to comment on like, oh, like if you work at McDonald's, you could just like, do this, because like I don't want to sell that dream, but I want to sell the dream that you can just improve the quality of your life, of your day to day, with changing your mindset, right? Like, there's a lot of different phrases, a lot of different stories I could tell, but one of them is something very simple, right? Like, if you go without food for a couple days, food tastes really good. or even something less extreme. Let's say you like visit some in-laws or your grandparents or whatever, whoever you visit. Maybe you visit a friend, and you eat their cooking. Let's say you spend 2 days a weekend. You spend a weekend at your friend's house or whatever, and they're not a great cook, or like you try to cook and it's not the same it's not the same setup, so it didn't come out right. And then you go back home, you eat your food, or you have like your mother's home cooked meal, your father's home cooked meal. That hits a little bit different. That tastes a little bit differently, and you have like more of an appreciation for it because of your mindset of it. The food is still the same. The person who made it is still the same. But your perception of it changed, and so that was the biggest shift. And so much as to say, or that's also to say, this is something that I've really worked on, is driving, or like traffic. I really don't care to drive at 5 or 6 p.m. or at like I'm okay with morning traffic, but more so that like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. traffic where everyone just wants to get home and they don't care about the rules. They don't care about being a decent human being on the road. So I typically don't like to drive around that time, because my mindset on it is driving is dangerous, driving is scary, driving is unpredictable. And so some people, like, hey, they have no choice. They they wish that they could feel that way, or even if they feel that way, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would like to not drive at that time as well. But so because of that, they have a different mindset on it. Or and that's what I've been doing. If you expose yourself to it a lot, you'll have a slightly different mindset on it, even if you're still like nervous. You'll work with that nervousness or that anxiety rather than just like not do anything with it.
It will become so knit with habit and emotion that our interest in it will be those which characterize cold blood act as if the thing in question were real, and it will become infallibly real by growing into such a connection with our life that it will become real.
Really, really quickly. One thing that someone said, and I've heard this before, but someone said this, like, my brain doesn't know the difference between reality and fiction. And it's true. Your brain does not try to like, it doesn't know the difference between fake and real. Like, it only knows the data. Like, it only knows the information. And so, yeah.
It will become so knit with habit and emotion that our interest in it will be those which characterize belief. He also said this: if you only care enough for a result, you will almost certainly attain it. If you wish to be rich, you will be rich. If you wish to be learned, you will be learned. If you wish to be good, you will be good. Only you must then really wish these things, and wish them exclusively, and not wish at the same time 100 other incompatible things just as strongly. In the Bible you read, in Mark 9:23, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale said this: this is one of the greatest laws in the universe. Fervently do I wish I had discovered it as a very young man. It dawned upon me much later in life, and I've found it to be one of the greatest, if not my greatest discovery outside of my relationship to God. And the great law, briefly and simply stated, is that if you think in negative terms, you'll get negative results. If you think in positive terms, you will achieve positive results. That is the simple fact which is at the basis of an astonishing law of prosperity and success. In 3 words, believe and succeed. William Shakespeare put it this way: our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt.
Okay, not to be like, oh, you don't understand that. That's a very simple Shakespeare quote, but I mean, that's pretty much just, that's what I just said about the driving thing. Like, you know, like let's say I had a business meeting to attend, or like there was an opportunity for me to go to at 5 or 6 p.m., 5 or 6 p.m., and I didn't want to drive because, you know, I have a bad mindset about driving at that time, then I'm not like I'm not living up to my potential because I did not go to that opportunity because I, you know, had a bad mindset, so I didn't even take the action.
George Bernard's the good Shakespeare.
I was about to say that's so much better, and then I like stepped over my own thought process. Anyways,
put it this way: our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. George Bernard Shaw said, people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. Well, it's pretty apparent, isn't it? And every person who discovered this for a while believed that he was the first one to work it out. We become what we think about. Now, it stands to reason that a person who's thinking about a concrete and worthwhile goal is going to reach it, because that's what he's thinking about. And we become what we think about. Conversely, the man who has no goal, who doesn't know where he's going, and whose thoughts must therefore be thoughts of confusion and anxiety and fear and worry, becomes what he thinks about. His life becomes one of frustration, fear, anxiety, and worry.
yeah, and that's like a very big thing, especially nowadays. Like, that's something that I've had to really learn for myself, and something that I've been trying to bring awareness to my friends as well. Is like, you know, if you think in negativity, negativity will rub off. It'll follow you, and like, you know, people that constantly talk in anxiety, then anxiety will follow. And like, obviously there's clinical levels of anxiety, and I'm not talking about that, but more so just like thinking about thinking, you know, just excessive thinking.
And if he thinks about nothing, he becomes nothing. Now, how does it work? Why do we become what we think about? Well, I'll tell you how it works as far as we know. Now, to do this, I want to tell you about a situation that parallels the human mind. Suppose a farmer has some land, and it's good, fertile land. Now, the land gives the farmer a choice. He may plant in that land whatever he chooses. The land doesn't care. It's up to the farmer to make the decision. Now, remember, we're comparing the human mind with the land, because the mind, like the land, doesn't care what you plant in it. It will return what you plant, but it doesn't care what you plant. Now, let's say that the farmer has two seeds in his hand. One is a seed of corn, the other is nightshade, a deadly poison. He digs two little holes in the earth and he plants both seeds, one corn, the other nightshade. He covers up the holes, waters, and takes care of the land, and what will happen? Invariably, the land will return what is planted. As it's written in the Bible, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Remember, the land doesn't care. It will return poison in just as wonderful abundance as it will corn.
So you can liken that analogy to the one that I said with your mind, where your mind doesn't know if it's nightshade, it doesn't know if it's corn, it doesn't know if it's fake, it doesn't know if it's real. You tell yourself, hey, I'm the best plumber that there ever was, or I'm the best, ooh, cannoli, hold on, there we go. That's my different stream layouts. I was like, why do I see that? Oh, yeah. Anyways. So yeah, like, hold on.
Here, it will return poison in.
Yeah, it doesn't know. It doesn't know if it's fake, if it's real, if it's nightshade, if it's corn. Like, if you tell yourself, like, this month I'm going to earn the most I've ever earned this, or like, in a year, and you make it your goal to be that, and you say that to yourself every day, and that's your goal every day. You wake up, hey, these are the 3 steps, these are the 5 steps that I'm gonna do every day. These are the metrics that I'm gonna follow. And this is how long I intend on it taking. Boom. Things will start moving in your direction. You will have a wind in your sail because you have a direction. You have when what you were doing. When you were doing it. How you were doing it, and what you were doing. What? Anyways, I had it lined up perfectly, but last time. Anyways, all of this is off of my head. I'll get better. This is all practice. For me, to be honest. Like I'm just warming up to this format and doing all of this. I've wanted to do this type of content for years, but I just haven't. But I feel like I'm learned enough, or I feel like I'm smart enough now, but just more so like I've really let things sink in. Like I've been wanting to do this since like 2017. But all of my knowledge and all of my thoughts have really, they've had a little bit more time, a little bit more thought, a little bit more care than they would have had back in 2017. So, I think it's perfect. I think it's happening at the perfect time. I'm going to go ahead and wind down and end the stream. I kind of only want to go for like an hour. I know we didn't get to the end of it. Comment down below if you want the rest of this video. Or if whatever you liked about the video, go ahead, feel free. Appreciate everyone stopping by. But yeah, thank you all for watching.